Cuban dissident Pablo Pacheco has been tasting freedom for the first time since the spring of 2003. The journalist is in Madrid with his wife and 11-year-old son. He was freed with some 50 other political activists a few days ago after spending 7 years in prison in Cuba. His friends continued to write his blog in Pacheco's name during his incarceration. Euronews met with Pacheco outside his hotel in the suburbs of the Spanish capital. What were the reasons that the Cuban government gave for jailing you? What was their legal argument?
Well, I can tell you this was the evidence that they had against me. It consisted of a 1950s-style typewriter, a dictaphone, some pencils, a fax, several blank sheets of paper, some books about journalism, and a radio. I have kept all of these things, and I have them here with me in Madrid.
How were you treated in prison?
There were periods during the first 2 years which were absolutely terrible. The jail was absolutely horrific. I called it the grave of living men. One day a guard said to me, "Thanks to you I got to appear on that Miami station, Radio Marti." I replied, "Surely you must have done something." He sneered back, "It's good I got to go on. That will win me some brownie points with my bosses."
A number of your fellow campaigners say they won't leave jail despite the deal brokered by Spain. How do you view that?
I am not aware of anyone who refused to leave because of the deal. However, I know some who don't want to travel and abandon their homeland. That's a very brave and dignified stance to take, but everybody has the right to their own personal decision. I would have liked to be able to do the same, but my son has to come first.
Was there any real change when Raul Castro took over the presidency from his brother Fidel?
I respect everyone's opinion, but to be honest, I think if Fidel Castro was still in power, this deal would never have happened. I cannot recall a time in my living memory when Fidel's government announced the release of 50 political prisoners in the official state newspaper.
Do you think Raul Castro could ever negotiate with the opposition?
I believe Raul can be a man for change in Cuba. He just needs to make a move to step out of his brother's shadow. Raul has placed a number of his closest long-time allies in top positions in the government. I believe, yes, that he can offer the change that Cuban people are looking for.
Do you think it'll be possible to form an umbrella group of opposition parties, including activists and other political groups, to negotiate together with the regime?
I think that would be a very good idea. Listen, let's be clear about this. Cuba is not Fidel Castro, Cuba is not Raul Castro, and Cuba is not just rebellion. Cuba is a country with 11 million people living there and 2 million in exile worldwide. I don't know when it will happen. Tomorrow? Maybe the day after tomorrow, who knows? I can't give an exact date as no one ever knows what the future holds. We have to all sit around the table and talk with the communists.
What message do you have for the Cuban prisoners still in jail?
My message is that while there are still political prisoners in Cuba, I will not rest. I will do everything to argue for their release, and I believe it is imminent. But I also want to say to the whole world and to all Cubans, especially those living in exile. I spent 7 years in jail. I left behind a 4-year-old son and his mother, all due to a system of intolerance which divides the Cuban people. I believe that love and peace are the only things that can save us from human misery. Honestly, I do not hate Fidel Castro. I don't hate Raul Castro either. I have no bad feeling towards my jailers, neither the state officials who condemned me to 20 years in prison. They're Cubans just like me, and as I said before, the day will come when we'll have to get around the table and talk together about what is best for our country.
Muchas gracias, señor Pacheco.
No, thank you. I believe you can play an important role to ensure that there will never be another spring like the one in 2003, when many, many honest men were arrested. Some are still in prison today.
Muchas gracias.